Sometimes we can even get the original glass that they used. Once we finished with a piece, nobody could ever tell that it was ever broken in the first place. I'm the founder of Scottish Stained Glass, and we have been based in Colorado and some other locations around the US for the last 35 years. Our repair service unique is that we've never ever come across something that we couldn't fix. No matter how badly damaged something would be, we can always fix it. And if it's a family heirloom, if it's glass that's broken, if the glass is a certain shape or size, or if it's been melted into a particular shape, we can recreate and restore any piece of stained glass. Types of damage that you see would be cracked pieces of glass or broken pieces of glass. But there's also other sorts of damage like lead damage. A window could have been broken into, it could have been dropped. There are any number of things that could happen to a piece of stained glass or a lamp, let's just say, a stained glass lamp. And to me, the most important thing is to restore the piece and make it look like nobody could ever tell that it had been broken in the first place. Challenge to match a piece of glass that's 100 years old. But there are still some manufacturers of stained glass that have been around for 100 years. Some of the original creators of the glass that was used in churches, let's just say 100 years ago, those companies are still producing glass today. Quite often we can find an old piece of glass from one of the original manufacturers, and we keep our own stocks of glass as well. But occasionally we do have to make a piece of glass. And what we would do then is we would take the closest color that we could find, and then we would add other colors to it and just try to create exactly the same color and the same texture if possible. It's between stained glass restoration and stained glass conservation. When you're restoring a piece, then normally you'll take out the broken piece and you'll replace it with one that's very similar or hopefully identical. Normally when you're conserving something, then even though a piece might be broken, you don't want to replace it. What we'll do then is we'll glue pieces of glass back together again. And normally we can do it in such a way that you can never tell that the piece was broken in the first place. But occasionally you can still tell that there is a little crack there. But to a conservationist, that's more important to have the original pieces than it is to use a replacement piece, even though the replacement piece might be perfect. Times when we are given repairs to do, it's because it does have some sentimental value. Quite often somebody's mom or dad used to make stained glass for a hobby, and they're no longer here. And unfortunately, the piece of stained glass gets broken, they drop it, and they're just absolutely distraught about, what's happened to their precious piece of glass that their mom or dad made. And we can assure people that we will do our absolute best to make it look like it was never broken in the first place. And sometimes we find that hobby stained glass people, they kept stocks of their stained glass. Sometimes we can even get the original glass that they used back when they made it 20 or 30 years ago. And once again, once we finished with a piece, nobody could ever tell that it was ever broken in the first place.